something, is very connection. Instead, I found that the metric curvature tensor, if I take the real symmetric part, I get the quadratic spread, which is related to some rule some conductivity sum rule. And if I take the imaginary antisymmetric part, I have the anomalous Hall conductivity, both in insulators and in metals. In insulator is quantized, in metals is not quantized. So in insulator is topological, in metal is geometric. And now what is on the line, so the new things are the line below. Yeah, first I want to show that they work also in insulator. Yeah, this is a slide explaining what I said in words. So anomalous Hall conductivity was discovered by Hall one year after the normal Hall effect. He discovered that in a ferroelectric metal, even without a B field, you have the Hall effect. This is the anomalous. There are for sure extrinsic mechanisms, because if you want a finite conductivity, you need intrinsic effects, and the extrinsic effects contribute also. But since the early 2000, it was noticed that an important contribution is intrinsic. There is a precursor work in the 50s, but I've never read the original paper, but I was told it's not gauge invariant. So that idea came by well, I forgot the name. So it is a geometrical property of the ground state. It is not a linear response theory, and essentially is a non-quantized tension. Now, what about I defined my pK. What is pK in metals? In metals, if I write in insulator, I wrote the block projector in this way. In metals, I write in this way. So I put a Fermi cap at the Fermi level mu. And this is there. If I take the derivative, I take the recipe. My derivative is more or less the same as an insulator plus a delta term at the Fermi level. Now, what happens? That if I take the antisymmetrized product, the delta light cancels. So this appears in antisymmetrized products. Essentially, this is a scalar because there is only one state which has the energy for any k. There is only one state which has the energy equal to mu. So this is essentially a scalar and commutes. And since this commute, the metric curvature tensor, in insulators, of course, the real part and the imaginary part are both continuous in the Riemann zone. In metals, the real part is indefined. It has a square of deltas, so it is a bad divergent term, but instead, the imaginary part, which is antisymmetric, is piecewise continuous because the theta gives you a function which is no longer continuous, but still is integrable. And this is the reason why my view, my recent view, is the reason why you can use that in a metal. So we are back again to the previous, but I explained why in both insulator and metals I can calculate the polarity spread. This only insulator because I have a divergence in the symmetric part, but I don't have the divergence in the antisymmetric part, and the anomalous conductivity is good for both insulators and metals. And now let's move to the following line. Here I will define another tensor. I will write orbital magnetization in this way. I will define another tensor G, in such a way that here I have the orbital magnetization. You remember I didn't say explicitly, but the formula for orbital magnetization I've shown before, which is the standard one, holds for both insulators and metals. So that I wrote on the background on the slide the orbital magnetization. This holds for both insulators and metals. And now I will transform the known formula in a much more compact and elegant form. You see, this is a usual formula. The usual formula needs the Hamiltonian gauge. That means you are not allowed to make unitary transformations here. In the Mazars, if you take a unitary transformation, it can no longer apply. So this is the standard formula we found in the 2005, 2006, more precisely this. But it only holds in this gauge. Well, I can show you that it can be written in gauge invariant way using a new tensor, which is a close relative of the metric curvature tensor, but it is somewhat. What is the tensor I have to invent, to devise, in order to make an identity? It is this. Notice the modulus hk. All of the trick is modulus hk minus mu. What is the modulus hk minus mu? Means that it is, on empty states, acts as hk h minus mu, but on unoccupied state is hk minus mu, on occupied state is mu minus h. That's the idea of the modulus. The modulus means if I apply it to a state which is empty, then it is h minus mu. If I apply on a state which is occupied, it is the reverse, it is the opposite. I can write formally in this way. Sorry, I can write formally in this way. I can write formally in this way. And now it's rather, I will not show on the slide, but it's a rather boring continuation. But I can show that I can show what I've written here. That is that the standard formula we know can be written very compactly and very elegantly in this way, in terms of this new tensor, which is a closed relative. Instead, you remember the F tensor at the place of this red had simply a pk. Instead of pk, it has hk minus mu. Why hk minus mu? Because any observable must be invariant by translation of the energy zero. So, except the energy itself, when I have an observable, this must be invariant by translation of the energy zero. So the idea is you need to have hk minus mu, and the modulus makes the trick of this. So I've shown that orbital magnetization is this, and now at this point you may ask what is here. If I take the real part, so instead of taking the imaginary part, the imaginary part is orbital magnetization. If I take the real part, what is here? And this is the big surprise I had in November. Here is one important point. Why orbital magnetization works in both metal insulator. It's very simple. You remember that this derivative has a delta singularity, but this operator is zero at Fermi level. So the operator kills the Fermi surface singularity. And so even the real symmetric part is well defined. So before going here, I have to ask, is it well defined? For sure, the orbital magnetization is well defined because anti-symmetrizing this, the imaginary part, I anti-symmetrizing, and there is no longer any delta singularity. But now we go back to the real symmetric part. In the real symmetric part, this product is highly singular, but since I multiply by something which vanishes at the Fermi level, so when I'm at the Fermi level, this goes to zero. And finally, if I do that, if I accept this, let's accept this, well, mathematical physicists would be really, would not agree about my very simple way of killing this singularity, but anyhow, I presented this to Gianluca Panati, you maybe know him, let's say what he did now, but anyhow. What is here now? That's a very, very interesting. What is here is important observable. This is the to the wave. So if I take longitudinal conductivity, the general formula for longitudinal conductivity here is there is a delta for a crystalline metal, there is a delta. You need an imaginary part by causality, so the real part is a delta. And the imaginary part is one of the omega because of causality, because of the transcurrent relationship, plus a regular point. Now, the regular is a linear response property. You have to compute by the two formulas, but D is a ground state property of the ground state, and in insulator D is zero. But if I have a metal, I have this delta contribution, this singular contribution at omega, which has to do with free acceleration. That means if I switch on an electric field in a metallic system, the electrons undergo free acceleration. And the delta, this D is in a sense measures the inertia of the system when I switch on a field. In a flat potential, you know, this flat potential, the through the wave coincide with the classical formula, chapter 1 of Ashur-Nermi. This is the formula, and you can do for free electrons with plane waves, you get exactly the same number. And the regular is zero. The regular is zero. This is also true in the quantum mechanical sense. So now because why zero? Because there are no matrix elements between plane waves. So plane waves, you have zero matrix elements. There are only free acceleration. Now, what happens in a potential? Well, I don't give you here, but if I can prove that the known formula for the known formula for the Drude wave can be cast in this way. I don't know whether I have more detail. And so, for metals only, I can prove the Drude wave. So this is the full quartet. Maybe I have some time, I don't have the slide, but I can say something more in words. I don't have the formula which I had in the paper because I think it's too complicated, but the idea is that the trick of the modulus is such that when I take the imaginary particle, I have h plus e minus 2 mu. When I take the imaginary part, instead I have h minus e, and the mu cancels. And that's the reason why I get something which is mu independent, and really is the Drude wave. You see, there is no longer any mu in the Drude wave. And this is the final result. So this concludes the quartet. And let me go to the conclusions. I'm right in time, I guess. Perfect in time. That's a miracle because it's not so easy. So each of the 4 observable is Fermi volume integral of a gauge invariant integral. There is no modular ambiguity. A different tinkering with the boundaries cannot alter its value. If you know the ground state projector only in the bulk of the crystallite, you can evaluate the observable even in metals. I will say a few words more. What do I mean with that? I mean the following. Suppose it can compute P, it can compute the ground state projector using block states. That was the formula I had on the slide. But instead I can take a large crystallite and compute P as in a molecule. If I look at this operator in the bulk of the material, so if both R and R prime are very deep in the crystalline, these two operators are indistinguishable, are the same. So if somebody gives me the operator in the bulk of the material, I'm able to compute all of those 4 operators. Unfortunately, not polarization. Polarization only modulo the quantum. And for this reason, is a local observable. This is defined even in homogeneous samples, so you don't need a k-vector to compute. That can be done this way. And you can also define a kind of density in R space. The metallic is far for granted because most of you know that this operator is exponentially decaying in R prime minus R in insulators. It is only power law in R prime minus R in metal. So it is not clear that this power law does not destroy, but instead our simulation proves that is correct. This is essentially the graduate thesis of Antimo Marazzo, and we have sent a paper also under review by now to Fingerletters about the anomalous for conductance. So we show that the anomalous for conductance is local in this sense. So if you know P in the bulk of the crystallite, you can compute the anomalous for conductance. We have that paper. And the final point that since we are interested in polarization, all of those good qualities are not shared by polarization, which is instead something cannot be regarded in this way. In particular, if I have an inhomogeneous system, I cannot tell, suppose graded material, I cannot tell how much is the polarization in some point of this, unless I do some approximation like the bond effective charges or the wave function are not enough because you can always add wave function at the end. So that. Okay, and with that, I think I thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. You know, Raffaele has been kind of the high priest of this field, and we've been seeing some of the mysteries here. I think there should be some discussion. We have plenty of time for discussion.
Yeah.
And let me just start by saying, so if you talk about changes in polarization,
yes,
then all of these things would work, right? I mean, it's only the absolute value.
Yeah. Yeah, but the message of the second paper by Kisbin is precisely that you can define also polarization itself, but you have to give up the idea which is a simple vector. It is a lattice of vectors. So if you accept that polarization is not a vector, it's a lattice of vector, then polarization itself is well defined. This is the message of that very important paper.
So let's take some questions and discussion.
Yeah. Thank you for your lecture. I really enjoyed it. Can you comment on the important case where the lambda or pathway between two structures involves changing the unit cell volume?
Yes, yes, because we can do in a scaled way. So already in my review of modern physics, 94, I do everything in scaled way. So I take a cube of size 1, and so I think the good way is to do in a scaled way. Otherwise, you get mixed up with this improper or proper polarization. So one way, there are several ways, but I would like to change coordinate and to define the phase in scaled coordinates. Yeah.
Yes, David.
First of all, thank you for this. It's just beautiful to see it all put together like this after 25 years. At the beginning, you talked about the position operator, the many-body correct formula for
Yes.
the position operator. So what about in the many-body case for your 2x2 matrix? Do we know how to
yeah. I will give a very technical response. So, David has in mind something more which I didn't want to speak to this non-technical explanation. The idea is that when I have a correlated wave function, I no longer have a k-vector, and I can define polarization for a correlated is a different class. About these operators, David knows that we can define this for a correlated wave function. We can define this for the correlated wave function, at least in the isolating case, in the famous New, Towles, and Wu paper about the quantum effect for correlated wave function. We can define the Doodle weight is a paper by Walter Kohn in 1964, and you had in mind that, I guess. Is here, if I take the imaginary part of this, is this polarization or not? Well, that's really tantalizing. I think, I don't have, if I had something to write, but the idea is that if I do the process, so let me say in words, and that will be a bit cryptic for everybody except David. That is, magnetization is sum over I of Ri cross Pi. Instead, my operator seems to give sum over Ij Ri cross Pj. And there are many more terms. I don't know how to cancel them. Could be. Thank you for the term.
Yeah, I have a question about, so we have a situation where for insulators and for metals, we seem to have different quantities that we can compute. But in reality, you can have like a zero density states metal, like Iraq metal or something, and then continuously move into the good metal state and to the good insulator from there.
Yeah.
So what happens here to the...
Well, we investigated, so omega I, so let's say, if you try to compute omega I, let's say, does it converge or does it diverge in graphene? I had several undergraduate theses about that. Since they are undergraduate, they are third-year thesis, they are not very advanced, so but our feeling is that it diverges much more slowly than in metals. So if you have a metal, if you take a finite crystallite, you compute this gauge invariant spread. It is always finite insofar as the cluster is finite, and in the limit of the large system, this diverges like the linear size of the system. This seems to happen, according to our heuristic, seems to happen both in one dimension, two dimension, three dimension. That is, if you take a metal, normal metal with a Fermi surface, and you take a cluster and compute the parallel spread for the cluster, this diverges in the same way, in the sense, as the linear size of the system in all three dimensions, 1, 2, and 3. About graphene, as I told you, we have more or less evidence it diverges. It diverges, but much more slowly.
Any other questions?
And that to lead to something else. Somebody also tried to compute the wave function in graphene, because since you have a well-defined subset of occupied, manifold of occupied states, you can try to compute the wave function of graphene. Already, even Nicola Bazzari computed the first principle, but also some people. And there is a work by mathematical physicists. They investigate the decay. The decay of the wave function is not exponential, it's power law.
Okay, let's thank Raffaele again. We have one more question, sorry.
Well, this may be a very ignorant question, but how do you do kind of a thermal effect, like temperature-induced phase transition? How do you handle that?
I'm struggling with that. So in orbital, of course, magnetization is well defined at finite temperature. There is an outstanding formula due to new and the Italian guy who is professor in Missouri, very friend of the American. Anyhow, the formula for orbital magnetization in K-space, it exists. It exists at finite temperature, because indeed orbital magnetization can also be measured at finite temperature. Polarization, no. Polarization in principle only exists at =0, because you need an insulator. So at finite temperature, you have, in principle, you have a metal always. If you have a finite temperature, you are depleting the valence band and occupying so you have free carriers anyhow. So polarization is defined on =0 in principle. Now magnetization instead is well defined even at T. The formula for the magnetization at T different from 0 exists. It is very complicated. I don't know how to fit in this game. I tried to do, but I didn't succeed so far.
Yeah, I think that opens up a whole nother issue of discussion that we should have later. Let's thank Raffaele again. So it's going to take me a minute to roll over the talks here, but the next speaker